Hello everyone. This is Starry Ari's ASMR. I am Ari, and today, as you can see, I have my September meal calendar here, and I would like to erase this and fill out a new one for October, because we're somehow already in October. So, a few notes before I jump in. My neighborhood is extra noisy today, and yesterday we had a random chicken show up at our back door pecking, trying to come in, and we have not seen it since, and we think that it made its way back to its owner, or I'm hoping. It seemed very friendly, but we were like, sorry, I don't think our dog is going to be happy with you coming inside. So I'm hoping everything is calm enough for me to film this video. So if you have not seen any of my calendar videos before, I have done quite a few of them. I do have a playlist that I will link here if you're interested in seeing any of the others. But this is a big calendar for the full month that we put on the front of our fridge. And this is just for myself and my husband. And we just kind of like to do something like this to kind of help keep us organized through the month. It helps us kind of make sure that we're not like doing the same meals over and over again. Like it makes sure that we're having a little bit of variety. And it just makes grocery planning so much easier when we already have something laid out. So at the end of a month or the beginning of a month, we usually sit down and kind of brainstorm some meals that we would like for this upcoming month, and then I just kind of fill it out in a way that makes sense, fill in a few extra meals as we need them. So we also often will do kind of a bigger meal and then a fend for yourself day, or like a leftovers night. So you'll see lots of these FFY days. These are also days sometimes when we are like going out. So this month we actually ended up having a couple more extra days where we were invited somewhere. My mom also came to stay for a weekend, and so we went out to eat a couple of times. So there were a few days that we kind of moved around, some meals that we ended up removing from the original calendar. So if you watched me writing my September calendar, you might notice I think we removed chicken and waffles. I think that was one that we had. And we definitely moved others just kind of around. So these are never set in stone. It's just a really good kind of helpful guide for us. So I think that's kind of the gist. I have a couple of cookbooks over here. I don't actually know if I'm going to need page numbers out of any of these today. I also have a little recipe card box. I always like to have these down when I am planning, just in case I kind of want to flip through and find inspiration for a meal. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is erase our old September calendar. And I like to do that just with a blank paper towel or a clean paper towel, because I'm clearing off kind of such a wide space. It just makes it easier. I'm gonna crack up laughing if that chicken comes back. It was like pretty late at night last night, and we just heard this random like pecking at our glass door. I mean, we didn't know that it was pecking, but this like tapping at our glass door, and we were like, oh gosh, is there like somebody outside? And we look over and my husband's like, that's a chicken. And we do have one neighbor that we think that we've heard chickens at before. And so we're pretty sure that it just accidentally got out of their yard. But we kind of live in an area where it's like a little weird for people to have chickens. Like, it's not usual. So I grew up in an area where like everyone had chickens. And the trade-off with that though is that neighbors were usually more spread out, so it was much more rare to have an escaped chicken. But we were cracking up laughing. And our dog is usually very, very calm and good, and she was just kind of standing at the door like, what is this thing outside? I think the chicken wanted to be let in. I think our dog also wanted us to let the chicken in so that she could figure out what the heck it was. But I'm hoping that it got back to its owner safe and sound. It seemed like a really sweet, friendly chicken. Okay, I think I need to stop rambling about the chicken. Alright, so our calendar is now nice and clear for us to start filling in all of the dates for October. I have this little marker. I say this at the beginning of every video, but I have this little marker that has a convenient little eraser if I accidentally make a mistake. But the actual marker part is dead now, like it doesn't work. So I have this other marker that doesn't have that little eraser. I kind of want to get these bits off. There we go. I think I remember hearing something about not, like, trying not to touch a whiteboard with your hands because, like, the oils can, like, mess with how the marker writes in those spots, but I'm going to ignore that advice for a second. Alright, so I'm first going to write October up here in the month section. Okay. Looks a little bit funky, but we're going with it. And then now I'm going to just fill in the rest of the number dates. So October starts on Wednesday, and I'm actually filming this on Wednesday. And second's a Thursday. And then famously, October does have 31 days because Halloween is on October the 31st. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I just like to put the numbers up in the corner so that they're not really too much in the way while I'm actually filling in the meals, but they're big enough for me to still see. 31. Okay. So now that I have gotten the numbers filled out, I also forgot to mention I have our little Halloween, like, gauze, like, tablecloth out. And it's like October 1st, so I was like, I have to get that out. So now what I'm going to do is mark any days that we are planning to be gone, or days that we know that we have events. And off the top of my head, so I know we're going to be visiting my family this weekend, so we won't need meals Friday night or Saturday night, but we will need a meal on Sunday. I like to do this little line thing and then end it on the day that we're coming back, so that it's just like very clear and obvious for us. So yes, we're gonna be gone those days. And I think that we have a, like, work outing, like my husband's division is doing like a get-together outing at some point this month, but I don't think it's actually nailed down yet, so I can't quite fill that in. But what we'll do is, like, if it ends up landing on a day where we have a meal, we'll just push the meal. Like, it's okay. So I did already have a few things planned for this week because we already did our grocery shopping. We usually do our grocery shopping on Fridays, and then it like lasts through to the next Friday. So I've already done grocery shopping for these days, so we actually already kind of know. However, we are kind of pushing things around a little bit from what we had written down here originally. So what we're going to do today is our chili and corn bread. And then we always have lots of leftovers from our chili, so I'm going to do a fend for yourself. Honestly, our chili is one of those where it's like we could easily half the recipe and we would still have leftovers. I usually have it for like lunch and dinner. Like I love our chili, so we always kind of load it up with like lots of good veggies too. So I'm kind of excited for that tonight. Then we're going to do the fend for yourself on Thursday tomorrow. And then we kind of rearranged some things, and we haven't done our sausage mac. And luckily the veggies that we needed for this were just our frozen broccoli and I think onion. And our onions were like, I don't know if this is for everyone, but our onions last forever. So we originally had this scheduled earlier this week, and then we had things come up, so we didn't need to make it, but we're planning that for Friday. And then we will do a fend for yourself day on Saturday. And then we had originally planned to do beef and broccoli, a new beef and broccoli recipe that I found on Pinterest. And we were going to do that on Friday, but I'm going to push that. Beef and broccoli. I'm going to push that to Sunday. Then I am actually going to write Pinterest so that I remember where I found this recipe. And I assume that we're going to have leftovers from that. Like I was saying, it is just my husband and I, so it is usually pretty easy for us to plan to make a big enough meal for us to have leftovers so that we're not having to cook every single night. Like, we enjoy cooking, but I'm not that enthusiastic. And then on this Tuesday, I am really getting into the fall mood. Our weather has kind of finally started to shift a little bit. In the afternoons, it's still maybe like mid-70s, but overnight it's getting chilly, and in the mornings it's pretty chilly. So I'm feeling, I think, a soup. And I want to do a soup that's going to give us leftovers enough for at least Wednesday, probably Thursday as well. And I'm so grateful that we're both happy to eat leftovers for multiple days, as long as it's like a good meal. And so I think I want to do chicken enchilada soup, because this recipe definitely gives us enough leftovers. And then honestly, if we don't have enough leftovers, we'll just end up making something else easy. And let me find, I think our chicken enchilada soup is actually in here. Yes. So this is the chicken enchilada soup. And we always get tortilla strip, like chips, to dip in it. And it's just so very tasty. I also realized we have a pork pozole meal here that we've actually never made. I'm thinking maybe next month I'll try and plan it, because I love pozole. I had a high school boyfriend whose mom made like the best pozole, and I definitely have never had as away since then, but we'll have to try our hand at this Instapot one and see if it comes even remotely close. So I need to find the page number. So 181, I'm gonna write page 181 here. I didn't really leave, wrong marker. I didn't really leave a lot of space, but I'm gonna make do. There we go. I'll put page 181. And then yes, we will definitely have leftovers Wednesday. I'm gonna assume we'll have leftovers enough on Thursday too. If not, we can make an easy like air fryer chicken or something and have some mixed, like frozen mixed veggies. So we'll be okay if we run out of leftovers somehow. And then we're going to be gone on the 10th and the 11th. And we're coming back on the 12th. And I usually like to try and do something a little bit easier, a little bit less intensive when we're coming back from a travel day. So I think I want to do DIY pizzas. Now, I love pizzas, and we don't really like to order pizza in very much. Not because we're like particularly healthy. I mean, look at our meals, right? But like pizza in general is like a lot. It's very, very heavy, and my husband is lactose intolerant, and very few places do good like dairy-free pizzas around here. So we really like to make our own DIY pizzas, and he can kind of get like a pesto sauce or do like a red sauce and just leave off the cheese and add extra toppings, or do whatever he wants, and it's just a little bit easier for us. So we're gonna do DIY pizzas, and we usually don't have a ton of leftovers from those, so I think I am gonna plan something on the 13th. And I want to do shrimp tacos. So we love shrimp. I think I say every month we usually try and do at least one meal with shrimp. It's a little spendier, but it's worth it for us to do at least one meal. And then we do usually have some leftovers from that. And then on the 15th, I want to try something new. And last month on my calendar video, I asked, what are some of your guys' favorite meals that you do? And somebody suggested some Greek bowls. So we've done like gyros before, and we really enjoy those. But sometimes it's like nice to just throw everything in a bowl. And we never make our gyros with like rice and like all of the stuff. So we're gonna do our Greek bowls. I think we're planning on doing it with some chicken like we usually do, and then some sauteed bell peppers and onions, rice, and tzatziki sauce. So I'm gonna write Greek bowls. And I think they're a little bit, healthier because we don't have the pita bread, even though I love pita bread. I'm a huge sucker for all types of bread, honestly. And then I'm assuming we'll have some leftovers from our Greek bowl, so I'm going to do Fun for Yourself Day. And then the chicken and waffles that we had to push, I think that my husband would still really like to do it. He loves chicken and waffles. And we tried our own chicken and waffles recipe a couple of months ago, and it turned out great. So we want to do it again. So I'm going to do chicken and waffles. And then I think that we might be going to like a fall festival on the 18th, actually, now that I think about it. So I'm going to do Fun for Yourself. I don't know if we're going to be out until dinner and like get dinner there. I assume that it's like going to have food there, but I'm not too sure. So I'm going to do Fun for Yourself here just in case. We might have some leftovers, but honestly, we usually eat our leftovers from this for breakfast the next day. But either way, we'll figure it out. So I'm going to do Fend for Yourself on the 18th. And then one of our regulars now is chicken pot pie soup. And this is a recipe that we added. This is a recipe that we added earlier this year, and we've done it, I think, like every month since because we just love it so much. And we always do it with biscuits, and we like dip our biscuits in it, so it's so good. So we usually have plenty of leftovers from that, so we'll do a Fend for Yourself on the 20th. And then this week is kind of busy for us, like busy for my husband at work and busy for me in school, so I am going to plan just some easy meals. I think I want to do BLTs because those are usually pretty simple, quick and easy. It's just like cooking up the bacon, slicing up the avocado, and then it goes pretty good. And then usually from our leftover bacon, we can do baked potatoes. And this kind of works out because we need potatoes for our chicken pot pie soup. So I will just get a big enough bag. I feel like potatoes are, I don't know if it's just everywhere, but potatoes here are like fairly cheap. So we'll just get a big enough bag so that we also have some to do baked potatoes. And then we usually have some leftover baked potatoes. So I think I'm going to do a Fend for Yourself after that. We don't always have leftover bacon for our baked potatoes, but we always have extra potatoes. And we usually just kind of make it work. Sometimes we'll grill up chicken if we're feeling fancy, but honestly, most of the time we don't. And then another meal that has become one of our regulars every month is chicken fried rice. We love chicken fried rice. And honestly, it's pretty like easy for us to do. We usually forget to pre-cook the rice beforehand so that when we add it in, it like crisps up a little bit more. But honestly, like even when we just use fresh rice, like it still turns out really tasty. So we're gonna do that on the 24th. We definitely will have leftovers on the 25th. And then this next one, this is a bit of a controversial meal. I was talking with my husband about it, and I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love a green bean tater tot casserole. This is something that we used to do every now and then when I was a kid, and I always loved it, and I want to do it on the 26th. So I'm going to write green bean tater tot casserole. And we don't do casseroles too often. Honestly, most of our meals are in the Instapot. But I love a casserole. And my husband's mom is from the Midwest. And I honestly don't think they made very many casseroles when he was a kid. And I don't, or at least he like never talks about them or enjoys them. So this one, I don't know that we've ever made like the version that my mom made because I have had other green bean tater tot casseroles that I have not liked. So I'm hoping that maybe he just hasn't come across one that he's liked, and we will try my mom's recipe that I think is probably like a very basic one, but I still want to do that one. And then I'm assuming we'll have some leftovers, and I might be the primary eater of the leftovers if my husband doesn't really care for it. He's usually good enough. We're both like adventurous enough with food that we'll like try it and see if we like it. Like we'll eat it for a meal, but sometimes like he might not eat the leftovers. So we'll do a Fend for Yourself on the 27th, and then on the 28th, I we wanted to do our air fryer chicken and veggies because it is just super, super simple. We just chop up lots of veggies. Sometimes it's like whatever we have in the fridge, and we'll get like a couple of bell peppers. If we have leftover potatoes from something, we'll throw that in there too. Dice up some chicken, mix it with like lots of good Cajun seasonings, and then just like throw it in the air fryer, and it turns out really tasty, super simple. So we're gonna do that on the 28th. We will have some leftovers from that on the 29th. And then another meal that I think we had in September's calendar that we ended up just removing because we didn't need it was our balsamic vinegar chicken wraps. Chicken wraps. They're another really super simple one. We just like to saute up some chicken, make some rice. Sometimes we'll do like sun-dried tomatoes, roasted red bell peppers, and balsamic vinegar. Sometimes we'll add in, like lettuce if we have it, and like all of that other like good veggies. It's again one of those meals that sometimes we'll just kind of throw veggies in if we have them. So we're gonna do that on the 30th, and then I think because this is Halloween, and we hope that we'll get some kiddos at our door trick-or-treating. So I want to do just an easy fend for yourself leftovers night on the 31st. And I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, we are gone this weekend. I think we're going to that fall festival on the 18th. I think one of these days we're going to be out with my husband's co-workers. But I think for now that looks pretty good. I think the meals that I'm most excited for, this chicken enchilada soup. I love this chicken enchilada soup. It's honestly pretty basic, but I still really enjoy it. And I think it's a great opportunity for me to eat tortilla chips. And yeah, I love that. Also, of course, shrimp tacos. I love shrimp, so I'm excited for those. I think next month we had tried a cauliflower taco, like a spicy cauliflower taco. Maybe back in July, I think, sometime. At some point. And I really enjoyed it. We just like roasted cauliflower in the air fryer, and we used to go to this restaurant at the last place that we lived that did a delicious spicy cauliflower taco, and we tried to kind of like recreate it, and it wasn't quite, but it was pretty close. So I'm thinking next month, if I remember, I might try and do that because that was pretty tasty, and we do like cauliflower. Alright, I think that this is pretty good. I think the last couple of months we haven't done a little drawing, but I think since it's like spooky October, I think we might do a couple of fun little drawings. Maybe I'll draw like a little spider web or something around the 31st. But that is my meal calendar for October. Again, I'm always looking for new meal ideas, so if you want to comment some of your favorite meals, maybe some of your favorite like easy meals, I'd love to hear them. But I hope that you enjoyed this video and just spending a little bit of time with me.